think that the gap between what is the personal life and the business life is a bit more flurry in a sense, and it's fuzzy. You don't see it as much. And if I could understand how to drive change within my personal life, and it doesn't matter what are my goals, I can do the same tactics for what I do in my work life as a leader, as a manager, so forth.
Yep. And that's when I wrote Everyone is a Change Agent, the focus was really threefold. There was one on organizations, but there was also on personal and making changes you wanted for yourself. And then there was also a community piece as well, which is becoming more and more vital as we deal with pandemics, which are really community events. And so driving change also works in community settings where
could you give an example? Could you give an example?
Yeah, so the big story in Everyone's a Change Agent that I tell and carry throughout the book is of building a beyond accessible playground in Bremerton, Washington. And we used all of the tactics of driving change and what I call the 7 change agent essentials to go from the thought that we should have an accessible playground, because my 13-year-old son has spina bifida, so he uses a wheelchair and forearm crutches to get around. And when he was little, there wasn't a playground he could play on successfully with his siblings, with his friends, with other children with his condition. And so a few of us mothers got together with a few community members, and we approached the city and said, we'd like to partner with you to bring a playground like this into our community. And over the course of 3.5 years, we raised $550,000, and we installed a 9,000 square foot accessible playground, the first in that region for children with special needs.
Wow.
And it's a phenomenal example of how, with an intention and a willingness to overcome the next obstacle and then the next obstacle and then the next obstacle, we made it so there weren't any obstacles for those children between their want to play and their ability to do it.
Yeah.
And the tactics in that book are available to everyone. They're not country specific, region specific. They're human to human. And so we all have an opportunity to be change agents.
Yeah, it's a wonderful story. You know, when I think about all the talents as a person that you have, like you have talents, and if you're passionate, you can express and utilize these skills and talents. But when you are like, this is what you need to do, and sometimes in the beginning it was very interesting for you, but after a few years, maybe it's not challenging anymore to do the same position or the same role. And these talents are not expressed. But when you're understanding that you're dealing with people, you see them more than a role, more than a box, and you can get much more than that. Like to really understand what you could get when you are connecting this way.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I talk about the unleashing the power that's hidden in organizations. So much of the power in organizations is a lot like a strong river, right? Flowing fast to the sea. And what we've learned over the course of the past 2 centuries is we can actually harness that power and turn it into hydroelectric power, right? We harness the energy in the falling water and the flowing water to achieve amazing results. And it's the same thing in organizations. Everybody shows up, whether it's online or in an office, with an amount of potential energy every day. And I find most times that energy is wasted and dissipated in friction and frustration and compulsion and conformance. This is why we talk about covering. We talk about people not showing up at 100% in their authentic self. All of those are deficits on that energy. What driving change does is unleash that by partnering it up with someone who's already passionate and saying, if you're passionate about this too, come join me. And you see a wave of energy sweep across organizations as they adopt this concept.